Welcome to the DeFi Standard, and this is Mickey B. Fresh. And today, the XRP community strikes back as John Deaton leads the community in our defense against the SEC as their case begins to crumble at the hands of the community and Ripple, the media, and pretty much everything is going against the SEC right now. So the investors that the SEC claims to be defending in their pursuit of this enforcement action has just intervened. And we're going to dive into that a little today on what that means and how powerful it is for the judge to actually read that filing from John Deaton. And there were multiple filings here. We're not going to go through word for word everything, but I am going to dive a little deeper into exactly what, he filed here and what it really means for this case, for the judge, and for the long-term effects of the SEC. So there's this little clip I found. Full disclaimer here, I'm not sure where it came from. The voice in it says it's New York City. Take it with a grain of salt. But take a look at this. I just thought this was interesting.
This is up in New York City right now. Some crazy shit's going on. This is up in New York City right now. Some crazy shit's going on.
So that's pretty interesting right there. I'm not sure where it came from, but it is very interesting nonetheless. It's showing the corruption of the SEC. I mean, there's some things with Russia on there, so I'm not sure how real it is or not. But hey, take it with a grain of salt. We're starting to get Bloomberg Law is covering this now. We see Forbes has covered it, the Wall Street Journal. So let's dive now into what John Deaton has done for us as the XRP community and has led the charge. And I am very thankful for everything that John Deaton has done, and he is a hero, in my opinion, in this community. And he should be congratulated by everyone who is an XRP owner for the time and effort that he put into supporting and defending us and giving XRP owners a voice in this case. Because remember, Ripple is out for Ripple. They're not here defending the XRP community. Yeah, they want XRP to have clarity, but at the same time, we need a voice. And John Deaton is giving us that voice. So the SEC raised its fist and showed its contempt for us. Today, we answered. 5 months ago to the day, the SEC filed a lawsuit against Ripple. We all know that. But they made it clear it was coming after everyone connected to XRP. And see, that's the problem with this SEC suit. They didn't just come after Ripple. This was a scorched earth attempt to just decimate the whole XRP community, ecosystem, and everything. And they're failing miserably, as they should, because they're wrong in their facts. They ignored warnings that this lawsuit would cause serious harm to countless people. There was never one phrase in the mountain of pages of the SEC has filed since December 22nd, 2020 that showed one bit of consideration for the retail investors they are supposed to be defending by their every enforcement action. When we asked the court to hear our voice, the SEC scoffed and insulted us in their formal response, saying that all of us who suffered collateral damage from the ill-conceived lawsuit should remain silent. Well, John Deaton and the community answered today. So John Deaton says, I have filed a motion to intervene in the case of the SEC versus Ripple on behalf of the entire community of XRP holders, users, developers, content providers, and the many small businesses that utilize the digital asset XRP as well as the XRP ledger. And we're going to dive in a little more, and he really goes into the use cases over and over. He answers every claim. All right, so we'll get to that. I'm going to show in his briefing here, we're not going to go through all 188 pages, but he really dove into it well, and I offered him some suggestions in some communications him and I had in the past about how the XRP ledger's DEX is really an important component of its use case, and a lot of people forget about that in the community. So we'll move on to that. So anyhow, moving on. In short, I made it clear to the court that without our intervention, we are without a voice in a debate of great stakes for us and the holders of all digital assets in the United States. When the SEC brought this lawsuit against Ripple and its two executives, it not only claimed that Ripple and its executives conducted an unprecedented 8-year continuous and ongoing coin offering, it also specifically alleged XRP itself to be an unregistered security. And all of us who have traded it since 2013 have been engaged in unlawful trades. That is a load of crap the SEC is trying to pull. And that's why we need a voice here. The troubling claim is not disguised or otherwise difficult to find. It's in the first paragraph of their complaint. They call it a digital asset security. Like, that is a blatant lie on the SEC. And now their house of cards and their whole allegations, which are all frivolous to begin with, are starting to fall apart because they're getting torn apart by the actual retail investors they're supposedly defending. And John Deaton just doesn't come in with, a nice little letter that says, hey, we want a voice. He went at them hard, like really hard, in the multiple filings he put in. I mean, this is going to have a major impact on the judge's understanding of this case. And I think that's my biggest takeaway. So even for whatever reason, if it doesn't allow the community to intervene, everything she reads in that 188 pages and his other filings gives her a view of the XRP holders and all the users who are utilizing the ledger in different ways, that there's, without a shadow of a doubt, multiple use cases and utility going on separate from Ripple. And so many of them have no idea that Ripple even existed. And he pointed that out beautifully in his filing. So let's go on here a little further. They see the SEC claims that their XRP has no utility, which is a load of crap. And this is where he completely decimated, just decimated. And I'm so proud of him and the community for doing that, because it's not like the rest of the crypto community has done anything. We know that XRP is always the target by the tribalistic Bitcoin maximists. But you know what? It's going to come out of this. XRP is going to get the clarity. And we're going to be the ones who are going to have the last laugh. And not in a, it's just the facts of the matter here. Congress isn't acting. XRP is going to be the one who gets the clarity before any of the other assets. Ethereum, Bitcoin don't truly have the clarity because they keep going back and forth on what they're saying. Like Jay Clayton says, well, as not part of the SEC officially, Ethereum and Bitcoin are not securities. But we're going to get it put in law that XRP is not a security after this, when it's all said and done. That's my opinion. That is not financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor. Okay, moving on. They also go as far as saying there's no utility other than as an investment contract in Ripple, which we know is a load of crap, despite the fact that a massive community of XRP users and developers have existed for years, completely apart from that company. A huge segment of XRP holders have never heard of Ripple when SEC accused them of having entered into this common enterprise with Ripple. The absurdity and arrogance of this unrestrained, out-of-control regulator's claim could not be further from the truth. Their logic could only be sustained if the SEC was able to suppress any XRP retail holder from speaking up and telling our stories of how we use this digital currency and variant in a variety of ways. And I'm going to go into that. He shows all the different use cases and he cites every single one. He really put in so much work. I want all the viewers who are watching this to really understand how much time and effort he put in to provide all the information of all the different use cases, all the different comments that were said by Giancarlo, even by Gensler, saying it as a bridge currency. So he just he's going to decimate this SEC prosecutor completely. So it should give So this gives us a chance basically to speak up. It should give all cryptocurrency holders and developers faith that the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York does not appear to be buying the SEC trying to sell in this case. It has taken the SEC's lawyer over XRP's utility as well as his preposterous argument that all sales are XRP are unregistered securities trades. Best of all, the court has invited us to argue why we retail holders, those the SEC is supposed to be protecting, should intervene in the case. So we know for more than 8 years, the SEC has allowed XRP, XRP Ledger, and all associated technologies to evolve from a promising digital asset with superior functionality into the third largest cryptocurrency. XRP of 2021 is very different than that of 2013. For these reasons, it is clear that those who hold and use XRP have a right to intervene in this case in order to adequately our interest. The very interest the SEC decided to dismiss when they filed their December complaint. So basically they had disregard for the retail investors they were supposedly protect. If the SEC is successful in an attack on Ripple and XRP, it will assume the authority to regulate and attack every other cryptocurrency. And that's a fact. If they do this to Ripple and the XRP community, they're going to come after everyone. Unless Gensler changed that. But by the XRP community intervening, this is something Gensler cannot ignore when they keep talking about consumer protection here. Well, now the consumers are coming after the SEC saying, you're hurting us. We're on the defendant side. So this is going to be a real wake-up call, and I think this is going to lead to some big changes at the SEC. That's my opinion. The precedent set here could become the new standard, and no digital asset exchanges, developers, vendors, ordinary users, and retail holders of cryptocurrencies will be safe. That's if the SEC prevails, which it's not going to happen. It is now up to the court to decide whether we can join the case. Nothing is guaranteed, and we must respect the judge's ultimate decision. But I'm proud and honored to have the trust and support of such a dynamic and innovative community of XRP holders who refused to back down when the government raised its fist and told us to be silent. That gives me goosebumps, because that is what decentralization, cryptocurrencies, and these community-driven networks allow us to do, is stand up, because we are the owners of these networks. Now let's move on here to one of the components from John Deaton's filing. And this really spells it out. He calls the SEC out on their bullcrap. He goes, the SEC does not adequately represent the interest of the XRP holders. The law is well settled that if no investment intent, a transaction does not fall within the scope of the securities law. When a reasonable purchaser is motivated to purchase by a consumptive intent and not for purposes of making profit, the SEC has no interest to protect under securities laws. So, for example, when somebody's streaming micropayments to our YouTube channel, to my YouTube channel through Coil, that has nothing to do with investment of any sort. They're utilizing its consumptive intent. Even if you send payments for anything using the XRP ledger to trade, the Zum wallet, those are all consumptive use cases. They have nothing to do with investment. Right? Clearly, the SEC is either unaware of XRP holders' use of XRP, or they are choosing to ignore such use for litigation reasons. The SEC repeatedly characterized XRP holders as speculative investors, incapable of developing independent utility and contributing to overall growth and development of the XRP ecosystem. Right there, that's just a blatant lie. And in the 188 pages, literally, Deaton goes through every single point of the SEC's amended complaint and just obliterates it and shows all the utility. I'm not going to go through all of that, but he literally must have spent hundreds of hours putting this together, and he just decimates it one by one by one by one. All right. The SEC claims that XRP holders' ultimate goal is seeking to intervene is for XRP to become available again for trading on digital asset platforms so that movents may buy and sell XRP as a speculative investment to intervene. This statement alone proves that the SEC fails to truly understand or appreciate the threat to XRP holders' interest that the overly broad and vague allegations contained in its complaint against Ripple and XRP holders have caused. There are literally hundreds of businesses. Now I'm going to go on to, so this is his memorandum of law in support of the motion to intervene. And just, I'm not going to go through all of it here, but it shows that how other government agencies recognize XRP as a currency, how XRP holders contribute to the XRP ecosystem. The SEC complaint charges Ripple but attacks XRP and XRP holders as innocent bystanders. See, they're supposed to be protecting us. So they're getting called out because they clearly overreached here. And I think it's going to have a monumental lingering effects. The magnitude of what's at stake here, the stakes are very high. And the SEC has continued to push the boundaries. Now, going behind the back of the court, remember here, so since they went behind the back of the court to get these MOUs, memorandums of understandings from foreign governments on information about Ripple's business partners, that right there is going to really piss the judge off and annoy them. Both judges, the discovery judge and now the main judge, Torres, she's going to read everything that he wrote here. And it's literally, I have a feeling, and this is my speculation, this could just come to summary judgment just from reading this. Reading everything here. She's going to be like, what are you doing, SEC? Like, you're blatantly lying. You're going behind a back. You're overreaching here. You're hurting retail. And your claims are false. And he just proved them blatantly that they're all false and frivolous. So I'm angry because the SEC has hurt us, and we should be angry against the SEC and for the government overreach. It has damaged our interests. And I'm glad that the community and John Deaton have stood up for us because this is powerful. And I think, history is going to remember this as one of those turning points in history. And we're a part of this. Things are going to change dramatically once we get clarity. So be prepared for that. These whole market cycles and speculation things, we're going to see real utility pump like you've never seen before. All right, moving on. Now, the intervention in the SEC enforcement action is permitted because we do have a right, and he argues how it should be granted. XRP holders took immediate action to protect their interests. XRP holders have protectable interest in the property subject to this action. So yes, we do have an interest here. And he goes on basically to say the SEC does not adequately represent the interest of XRP holders. Defendants do not adequately represent the interest of XRP holders. Now, Ripple, they're representing themselves, but they're not representing our interests necessarily. So this is why we need to intervene in this case. All right. And he cites a bunch of cases here. And let's move further because he goes into the preliminary statements here. This is great right here. He says, the SEC's allegations are riddled with material misrepresentations about XRP holders, their reliance on Ripple, their use of XRP, and their independent development of XRP ecosystem. By failing to distinguish specific prior sales and distributions by Ripple from present-day XRP, the SEC has put the property of XRP holders at the heart of this case and positions its interest at the complete opposite end of the spectrum from that of XRP holders. The defendants also made it clear that they do not represent the interest of XRP holders, and Ripple does not. That's not, their responsibility. Now, statements of Relevance. So the government agencies have already recognized this currency. FinCEN has recognized as currency. We have the Justice Department that represent DOJ, the Department of Justice and Financial Crimes Enforcement, entered into agreement with Ripple stating XRP would be considered a virtual currency and its use to be registered exclusively with FinCEN, not the SEC. And he cites that right here. All right, moving on. Now he even cites Gary Gensler describing XRP as a bridge currency between two central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, at a financial roundtable 2016, September 26, 2018. Then he also brings up June 2020. Former CFTC chairman Chris Giancarlo stated XRP is more like an alternative currency than a security and should have the same legal status as Bitcoin and Ethereum. United States isn't the only government to classify XRP as a non-security or alternative currency. Japan, Singapore, and UK all have declared XRP to be a non-security. And then also he brings up the fact that the SEC permitted and authorized Ripple to purchase 9% of MoneyGram, knowing that Ripple would distribute XRP to MGI, which in turn would sell the XRP on the secondary market to purchasers, including XRP holders. So they basically allowed all this to happen here. It's just pathetic, the SEC. Like this, they are literally pathetic, in my opinion. And that whole organization needs to be revamped. And those who committed these, borderline crimes here, Jay Clayton, he directed all of this. It's all his doing. And it's stated by the enforcement directors. They've said at the directive of Jay Clayton. So we also have in 2019, Platform A, which we pretty much can assume is Coinbase, but we don't know for sure, prior to listing XRP, met with the SEC to determine the legal status of XRP and sought guidance as to whether the SEC considered XRP to be a security. Following the meeting, Platform A listed XRP, and we know who that was. That was Coinbase. They listed it basically right after. Now, I want to add in here. He doesn't put it here, but I think this is very important. Who was the general counsel at Coinbase at that time? Brian Brooks. So, Brian Brooks now just went to the CEO of Binance US. So I think there's going to be multiple smoking guns that are going to come out of this case, of the transcripts and the documentation from the SEC that Ripple is gaining access to. I think it was 19 custodians or something. They're going to get access to, and these comments and these documents are going to come out here. Ripple might already know that the SEC stated, XRP could be considered is not a security. All they need is one document like that. This whole thing's over. So there's so many different ways that this case is going to get either summary judgment right away or SEC is going to lose. Like, there's very few ways that Ripple's going to lose here. Like, it's looking more and more like we're in a good position. Now, by him intervening, it's just like the icing on the cake right now. It's a nail in the coffin for the SEC. Let's put it that way. All right, moving on. So, Platform A listed XRP. That was basically Coinbase, we think. Other market participants also sought guidance from the SEC prior to the commencement of this action. At no time prior to the filing of this case did the SEC dissuade market players from listing or trading XRP. So basically, I'm just going to throw my take in here, is that the SEC expected Ripple to just settle. And this is why I think a settlement is unlikely, in the sense that Ripple's going to give anything up and take the fine and give the escrow disclosures over. They're not. Because they refused to settle. And the SEC probably didn't want to come out and say it's a security because they expected Ripple to just settle with a threat of an enforcement action. The SEC, I think, in my opinion, wanted they didn't want the escrow, but they wanted the ability to have all future sales under the guise of the SEC. So anything that Ripple did with XRP would have to follow the SEC's securities laws. And then they would probably say, okay, the XRP that's out there, that's not a security. And you know what? Ripple said, no, that's not good enough. And some of you might be saying, well, why not? Well, because that escrow is the key. That's the seigniorage that's going to allow them to boost the network and grow adoption and build out the ecosystem and do things you can't even fathom. It's not to sell it to fund the business. It's not going to get burned. That would be a terrible idea. I keep seeing that on Twitter. I don't understand why people think burning the escrow is a good idea. It's the worst possible idea unless it was absolutely necessary to do. So this is why I don't think Ripple has any intentions of settling. They would have settled already if that was the case. So basically, SEC threw the whole kitchen sink at them and said, hey, we're going to go after Brad and Chris. We're going to go after and say XRP is a digital security now. And we're going to say those were investment contracts back then if you do not settle with us. Basically, they wanted them to settle, saying that anything that Ripple does with the XRP they held either in escrow or they held liquid, that would have to be disclosed under the Securities and Exchange Act. And Ripple said no. And no. So why would they settle now? That's why I don't think that type of settlement is going to happen. I know people keep saying, oh, well, there might be a settlement. I don't think so. Not at this stage. Unless the settlement is literally just the SEC saving face and a little slap on the wrist. Because Brad and Chris, I think their accusations against them are definitely going to get thrown out because there's no way the SEC could prove that. And now Deaton's basically saying, hey, there's no way you could say XRP is a security now, a digital security. So what Deaton's trying to prove is to get it in law, either in a summary judgment from the judge, which states XRP is not a security, and that would give it full regulatory clarity, or have the SEC actually make an official statement that says XRP is not a digital security. Those two things give us full clarity. That is what Deaton is trying to get. And something that says, either exchanges are free, are cleared to list XRP is not a security. Those are the things he's trying to do, or summary judgment. All right, so moving back on here before we wrap it up. As of late October 2020, approximately 60 days before Clayton directed and authorized the suit against defendants and XRP, the SEC continued to inform XRP holders who were inquiring as to the status of XRP in relation to Bitcoin Ethereum that the SEC had made no determination as to whether XRP is a security and did not know when or if it would ever make such a determination. So if they can't even make a determination, how can they say Brad and Chris knew deliberately it was a security? So that's getting thrown out. And now here's the real kicker. And this is that video that I played that some of you seen on Twitter. Now, in December 2020, Clayton and the SEC were warned by former chief of the SEC, Joseph Grunfest, that the mere filing of an enforcement action alleging XRP to be a securities would result in unprecedented multi-billions in losses to individual holders and users of XRP with absolutely no connection to Ripple or its executives. Grunfest argued that the SEC had not established material distinction between Ether and XRP that justified filing an enforcement action against XRP, and doing so would call into question the Commission's exercise of discretion. Now, this is where, now listen to this. I have a video clip here of actually Clayton and Grunfest interacting in 2018, and I know the sound is low, so just raise your volume for this, but that's Grunfest on the left, and he's asking him, and they're talking about bringing enforcement actions, and Grunfest is saying, well, it's very difficult to bring enforcement actions against individuals, and Clayton did it anyway, and this is just foreshadowing what happened. So let's take a look here. Now, just turn the volume up for this.
And my enforcement colleagues can comment on this better than I can. But bringing a case against an individual on balance requires more time and more resources than bringing a case against an entity.
And Jay, it'd be worthwhile for you to explain to the room why that's typically the case.
Well,
See how he reacts right there? He's like almost saying like, well, Jay, explain to them why is it so much more difficult to bring an action against individuals? And basically the SEC to bring this enforcement action needed to go after Brad and Chris, or they wouldn't have been able to actually even bring the enforcement action. So let's hear what he says. And look at it. Jay's body language just gives away everything.
the stakes are different.
A corporation can write a check, maybe get insurance, right, against some of the payments. You going after an individual, it's the individual's livelihood. The individual frequently has an indemnification agreement, all right, with the corporation. So in many situations, especially if the defense is successful, it's not going to cost them anything in order to be able to mount the defense. If the defense is unsuccessful, there's a separate set of litigation that can go on about whether you actually get the indemnification. But you know, the rule of thumb when I was at the SEC and in private practice negotiating against the SEC is that degree of difficulty going after any individual significantly higher than going after the corporate entity.
But it may be worth it.
Boom, right there. See that? Grunfest even tells him, hey, I've been on both sides. The degree of difficulty is much harder going after the individuals, especially not in a fraud case. And Jay, look at his face. It may be worth it. Well, was it worth it here to devastate the retail investors and embarrass the SEC? This guy should be dragged in front of Congress for what he did, because he's foreshadowing what he ultimately did do. And Grunfest sent that letter, as we see here, in December 2020, warning Jay Clayton not to do that. And I believe it was December 17th. I believe that's Grunfest in that video right there. I'm like 99% positive, but if I am wrong, somebody please correct me. And now John Deaton goes on to explain how XRP holders contribute to the ecosystem and all the utilization and capacity of the XRP ledger, basically using XRP for payments as a substitute fiat currency, getting paid in XRP, like James Rule does, XRP. He gets paid in XRP. That's a use case. And then some XRP holders are developers who use XRP operationally within their business model, which is, content creators and streaming coil payments. We're part of that. And also using XRP as collateral to secure loans as fiat currency. That's a use case too. And there's 300 internet service providers, 500 crypto services, 30 tourism businesses, 500 shopping markets that all accept XRP utilized for direct payments. So there you go, completely blows the SEC arguments out the window. Now he goes on that some XRP holders utilize XRP and the XRP ledger to tokenize non-fungible tokens. Some XRP holders use XRP as a bridge currency to transfer one asset from one exchange to another use case. And he goes on about all the different ones. Just because Ripple uses ODL as an enterprise solution, that still could all be done on the XRP ledger. The XRP ledger is a decentralized exchange and a payment network built into one. And that's what makes it unique and superior to Ethereum and to Bitcoin. So that's why not every asset could be a bridge currency. You have the ability to trade on a decentralized exchange with an order book and a payment network together on one network. You can't do that on Bitcoin. And on Ethereum, you got to build the layer 2 stuff. The SEC complaint charges Ripple, but attacks XRP and XRP holders. And let's move through this here. Basically, defendants promise to undertake significant efforts to develop. Basically, yeah, he's saying that not everyone even was aware that Ripple existed when they bought XRP, which is a legit argument here. And he makes so many good points here. And moving on. All right, so here's the legal standard. I'm going to post all these in the descriptions below. So he also says here's the intervention in SEC enforcement actions is permitted. So he's arguing why we're permitted to be in there. All right, so let's move on to the declaration, actually. So here's all the citings that he actually cites now. More than 12,600 XRP holders. Oh, here we go. And he also has the exhibits of everything. Gary Gensler's video he's submitting. He's also submitting William Hinman's comments. He's also submitting Giancarlo's comments about saying XRP is not a security. Jay Letter's, the copy of Jay Letter to Representative Ted Budd, who, when he said assets can transform from digital securities to non-securities. And that's basically what XRP has had. That's what we're trying to get as intervening here, is that XRP is clearly not a digital security, and we want clarity by law for that. And how they damaged and caused basically billions of dollars in damages. And then there's the letter from former SEC Commissioner Grunfest warning Jay Clayton, Gensler saying it's a bridge currency here. And then we also have then all the different use cases that he brings up here. The XRP directory, these are all the different use cases he attached. So everyone who contributed to on Twitter and explains what use cases there are, you have helped the community and John Deaton fight back and give us a voice. So you should be proud of yourself and proud of the XRP community, because this is going to make history one day. And they'll probably make a movie about it, a Netflix series. Who knows what they'll make about it. But here's the actual 188 pages, and we're not going to go through that anymore. I know this was a long video, but I really wanted to give some scope to what he actually did and not just read an article, all right? So I try to make my videos more in-depth and deeper dives than just the average, hey, let's read a news article. And here's the 400. He answered every single allegation that the SEC put. So what he's asking for, XRP holders allege, assert, and state the following defenses as a separate and distinct defense to the complaint. By virtue of alleging these further defenses, XRP holders do not assume any burden of proof, persuasion, or production not otherwise legally assigned to them. So basically his first defense is a failure to state claim, basically saying that XRP is not inherently an investing contract because, here's a good point here. Under Howey and Telegram, it is well settled that the underlying instrument and or asset does not constitute a security per se. XRP holders did not enter into a common enterprise with the defendants, nor did they rely on any efforts, strategies, and or statements of the defendants. Although some XRP holders purchased XRP for the purpose of investment, many holders acquired and purchased for the consumptive use and substitute for fiat currency. And now his third defense is the lack of due process and fair notice. How many times were people wrote to the SEC and asked, is XRP a security? Is it not? Even Glenn Hutchins asked in the middle of an actual conference to Jay Clayton's face. He did not even answer, but he didn't say it was security, didn't say it was not. But the DOJ, the Department of Justice, and FinCEN categorized XRP as a convertible virtual currency, which is the U.S. government permitted the continuous sale and use of XRP, including in secondary markets. Now, the SEC is coming way out of left field, and they never determined it to be a security, and now they just want to say it out of nowhere. And there was never an ICO for that Ripple did. All right, so fourth defense. The SEC has no authority to regulate cryptocurrency generally and XRP specifically. And I think this is important here. Bitcoin, Ethereum are commodities, deemed commodities. XRP will be too. Everyone's like, well, which agency is going to regulate crypto, when Congress does it? Well, there's really no debate here. It's going to be the CFTC. The SEC regulates securities. That's what they do. These are not securities. These are commodities, currencies, new types of digital assets. So the SEC is out of the picture, all right? Only they'll deal with ETF, security tokens, other types of assets. But it's the CFTC, and we got Chris Brummer coming in there, who's probably a genius, probably one of the smartest people on the planet when it comes to crypto and blockchain. And then the reservation of rights he puts here. XRP holders presently have insufficient knowledge of any information upon which to form a belief as whether they may be yet unstated offenses available to XRP holders, and therefore expressly reserve, in accordance with applicable law, the right to amend or supplement their answer. So plaintiffs claim that XRP itself constitutes an investment contract is barred by the applicable statute of limitations. So Deaton really did work with this. Like, I'm very proud of him, and I'm very proud of everything that he has done. He really killed it here. So I'm very proud of him. And I think we have, we're at the end of the ropes here, basically. Let's put it that way. I think we're ready to win. And my opinion is we're coming to summary judgment very soon. This is starting to get out of hand with Gensler just being announced as the new chairman of the SEC. This is turning into a circus for the SEC. Just him, the judge is going to read all this. I only skimmed through it, but she's going to see all these use cases, and she's going to be like, what is the SEC doing here? You just is a frivolous case. Now, Ripple hasn't even had the chance to argue these things yet. That's why they're still in the discovery phase. But by John and the community intervening, we're able to bring all this up first. And it just puts it right into the judge's head. And I think this is coming to summary judgment soon, or something's happening soon, because this is going to embarrass the SEC. I mean, this judge looks fair-minded, which is Torres, who's the main judge, and Netburn is the discovery judge. So she'll deal with all that nonsense and shady activity the SEC did behind the scenes, going to foreign governments of countries where there's regulatory clarity, trying to get info from Ripple's business partners. But Annalisa Torres, the judge for the main case, she's going to read all this. And after reading through all this, I think it's going to be very obvious to the SEC is at the end of their ropes. Like, they literally embarrassed themselves. And I'm very proud of John. I want to congratulate him. Thank you so much for all your hard work, and everyone in the community for standing up and participating in this case and giving us a voice and not letting the SEC walk all over us. I'm Mickey B. Fresh, and I'm out.